Tom, a pleasure to welcome you here this afternoon, to see you again.
Thank you, Jacques.
We've met many times before, maybe from very early in the life of the company, so that's not a hard one for me to present. It's a real pleasure too. So no need to tell you that everybody's accessing more and more SaaS application, whether the CIO is agreeing with that or not agreeing with that is completely irrelevant. And I can tell you from personal experience, when, for example, an investor in USVP wanted to access our USVP data room and couldn't access it from the corporate environment because it was blocked, she brought her personal iPad to the office and accessed it from there. So it's a losing battle. You know, it's happening whether the CISOs like it or not. Comes in Firelayer, and Tom is going to tell us why what they do is so important in that wave of transformation that the enterprise is going through.
So specifically speaking about CISO, and Jacques brought a great example, the problem with the move to the cloud is that the entire perimeter is just changing and make it more and more complicated for the CISOs. So if before they had control over the network, over the server, over the devices, now basically they have control over none of them. The servers are not theirs. The network is coming from anywhere, basically. Just as I said, I'm coming with my personal iPad, my wife's computer, or a random computer in the airport and signing to all those corporate applications with very sensitive information. In many of the cases, they don't really even support the user because I can take something and share with my personal email and that's it. Now I don't even control the user. So the problem is really complex, and it's just getting more and more complex because the fact that I'm using cloud application doesn't mean I'm not responsible anymore. It's actually mean I have more responsibility because now I'm responsible for the data and for the users. The cloud provider will worry about all the other things, but now a lot relies on me, and I don't have any tools to bridge that gap, and that's what we're trying to do.
So say I'm a user in a company where they've deployed your system, and I want to access a SaaS application. What happens?
So basically, the Firelayers solution is comprised of a few main components. The first component is the risk-based authentication. So essentially, each time a user from the organization would want to access a cloud application, regardless of where they're coming from, whether it's a corporate device or private device, they first has to go through the Firelayers engine. That's based on a pretty standard available today, which is SAML in 83% of cloud application. But the fact that the authentication point is used essentially as a hook to first understand and get the user, and add a lot of context to what is the risk of that specific user and session. So essentially behind my traditional credentials, now I can see where the user is coming from, whether it's a corporate device, private device, is it the first time I'm using that device, is it a weird location, am I doing something weird, am I accessing from two different points in a very short time, where I'm accessing too much compared to my peers or myself. So taking all this data into account, we can calculate the risk of that specific user in session. And the first thing we would do is we'll maybe even block it altogether if it's a complete no-no. But in many of the cases, the session will actually go through because, yes, the CEO, one of the investors can actually go in, but we might want to do something with that session coming into the cloud application. So we have two routes going from there. The first one is just what we call threat detection. We'll connect behind the scenes to the cloud application, collect a lot of data from usually service provider APIs, and really understand what the end user is doing. So very detailed auditing and visibility into the usage of that specific user, including a lot of machine learning and alerts to actually bring information to the organization if something fishy happens. So if Jacques is connecting in the middle of the day from a corporate device within USVP, probably okay, you can go in, but I do want to know what's going on. On the other hand, if Jacques is using his wife's computer from China.
I'm divorced.
Okay, so your ex-wife's computer?
Even worse.
Okay. From China, that seems a little bit fishy. I want to go through the threat protection route. And in this case, it actually goes through the Firelayers gateway. And aside from getting visibility and auditing, which is usually much deeper than you get via APIs, you actually can implement a lot of policy and controls over the session itself. So maybe you want to reduce privileges. There's something that you don't want the user to do from certain computers. Maybe you want to add challenges. So for example, before doing severe admin actions, I want to add two-factor authentication to ensure that's really the user. I want to scan documents. We've just launched a partnership with Checkpoint where you can now, when you upload outside of the office documents to Google Drive or Box, actually scan them via the threat prevention tools of Checkpoint, and only if they are okay, let them go through. So you add a lot of inline control into the session, and by that, increase the security.
Makes a lot of sense. What's the status? You have customers, better prospects? Where are we?
Yeah, so we have a very interesting scenario. So part of the thing about cloud security, you have to be kind of in a certain size, and there are a very, very interesting scenario that we're seeing with our customers. Anywhere from a big casino player where someone set up a guest network next to their office, and by that fish credentials and session IDs and try hijacking actually use their credentials. Another example, well-known VC, not USVP, where ex-employees after leaving the company still had access to documents 12 months earlier just because they shared with their personal account. So we have some of those deployments going, a couple of dozens of deployments. NiceCo actually growing now into the States, starting our sales operation, and hoping to see some more customers.
So I saw a press release. You want to tell us something about that press release of a couple of days ago? The
Yeah.
Akamai round.
So we've recently closed another round from our first investor, Yoav, as well as Akamai that joined forces with Yoav to actually fund the company. Akamai actually is a very interesting story because if you think about the Akamai network, they have a network of POPs all around the world. I think the number is 180,000 reverse proxies. And you want to get to a point where essentially you get security directly from the pipes. You don't need to do anything, you just get there. So that's one interesting angle from an infrastructure side. And from the Akamai side of the story, they're actually looking to actually offer some more value-added services. Security is the #1 growing business. So there's a synergy there beyond the money, which is great.
If you can, in 30 seconds, lots of companies are around your space. No, but I won't have time for another question. Lots of companies around your space. If you're going into a customer and he rattles the list of all the companies near you, why you and not them?
So it's going to take 10 minutes because there are a lot of companies in the space. I think it's part of the problem with the space that it's a new space, so we're all bucketed into the same huge list of cloud security. I think the key differentiator, at least that we're seeing, from day one, we're very focused around security and control. And in order to do that, from day one, we've invested a lot in our gateway technology. So connecting via API and visibility is nice, but if you really want to do security, you have to have a lot of competency around technology and gateway and actually be able to control all the stack of the end user. By that, the byproduct, we support any app. So we're completely unlimited. You can bring your own homegrown app, customized app, public app, any app you bring, because you can't really know where the threat will come from. Most of the companies we work with have 30, 40 cloud applications. You have to make sure you're closed from all ends. And on top of that, we're doing a lot of things with the users. So you can't really block users altogether from doing certain things. That's a problem with the kind of like the grassroots of cloud application. They will just go behind the door, in the window, they'll figure out a way. So another thing we do is we do with the users. So you want to use an admin credentials? That's great. Two-factor authentication, and go ahead, you can do that. You want to upload a file? It must scan it for malware, and then you can go ahead. So we're doing a lot of user interactions as well as plugging in third-party technology. That's some of our key differentiators compared to other players in the market.
Excellent. Main goal in being at this conference?
Customers and technology partners. We're looking to grow our customers and business in the States. That's kind of the main reason I'm here, making noise.
Any question from the audience? All right, that's a wrap. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jacques. Thank you.